Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Founders Podcast from the Edge Computing Association. I'm Phil Bliss, the founder of the ECA, and today we want to welcome Anthony DeCristofaro, CEO of Qnext Corp, the company behind FileFlex Enterprise, a disruptive, hybrid, point-to-point zero-trust data access and sharing technology that is getting a lot of interest. As the remote workforce revolution is demanding more cybersecure applications, FileFlex is emerging as a leading technology in this space. In the company's language, FileFlex Enterprise brings the genius of zero-trust data access to the new remote workforce. Anthony, welcome. So let's sort of dive into, zero trust and some of the things that we've discussed in previously. So maybe you can explain, because there seems to be a bit of misunderstanding. What is the concept of zero trust? Because, for many, it's kind of an overused term, and I think for just as many, it's not really understood that well. So, can you give us some clarity on it?
Hi, Phil. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So when it comes down to, I guess, zero trust, you're right. The name has been used by many that probably pushing the envelope. I think the most important thing is a product or a platform or a solution in zero trust has to be designed from ground up. Most important of all, the concepts of zero trust are really, in a way, simple, but quite different to what we've been used to in all these applications and VPNs that we have in the market, which is trust no one, but verify everything. So zero trust basically has many key points that must be covered under zero trust. And in many ways, for the IT or the security of a corporation, it actually simplifies the amount of security pieces and other applications that you have to have if it's properly designed and put forward. So zero trust has really, at the end of the day, the key elements are the use of microsegmentation, enforce policies everywhere, provide identity beyond identity and access management, and introduce visibility and automation. I mean, at the end of the day, these are the things that can help a corporation reduce the risk factor on their corporate access and data.
Okay. But, and I don't know whether you've noticed it, but I have, over the last 6 months, it seems that I can't, read a blog, do this, do that. The volume is turned up so much on zero trust. Why is that happening?
Well, I think we're seeing a new level of security and bad actors, right? And they're very serious. They've been accumulating a lot of money. They become more powerful to be able to attack organizations. And ultimately, it comes down to even at the level of countries. So to answer your question is we've been living with 25-year-old technology, which includes VPN and a bunch of other so-called security platforms. And so the world is changing. And the micro-segmentation of understanding what everyone is doing with every click is very important. So we've had these big break-ins, as you know, in terms of the U.S. senators commented on a lot of key points that are going on in momentum. The White House, as you know, has fully went forward to start towards a zero trust paradigm. And in this new model, it's all going to be real-time authentication tests, block suspicious activity, prevents adversaries from the kind of privilege escalation that was demonstrated in the SolarWinds incident. So slowly, all of these pieces have to come into play, and they're not one silver bullet. There are many elements of zero trust. There is zero trust network access, zero trust application access, and you've heard of companies in that sector that are specialized, that provide the network and the application, like Zscaler, or Cloudflare. These are companies that are known. We are very focused on the zero trust data segment of it.
So, here I am sitting in in IT, looking at my cybersecurity, concerned about it. How does zero trust protect my organization?
Zero trust protects the organization in ways the other models really can't. I mean, it stops a lot of malware and bad actors from entering your network. It gives remote workers a lot more protection without affecting productivity. It simplifies the management of the security operations of the centers, actually, and enhances the automation. It's quite an interesting journey. As I've talked with some large corporations who have actually moved to zero trust, and it's actually simplified things and given them better visibility, better productivity into potential threats to improve, the proactive remediation and response, whether your organization is already deploying zero trust or in terms of completely new to it. It's important to understand the concepts of it and how it can protect your organization. Zero trust changes the concept of the perimeter security, which is based on location, to a new, more secure model based on user identity, authorized access. John or Sue doing from their home and accessing document? Where did they send it? Who got it? Did they change the name? Are they downloading copies? I mean, all these things that you really want some visibility and alarm settings for.
I get what you're saying. I get sort of the government thing, but it's not just government. Why are so many organizations, getting on the zero trust journey?
Well, you're right. It's not government. I mean, it's sort of understood that it sort of started the large momentum from the federal U.S. government, and they have NIST organization, um, the National Institute of the Security, that really brings the guidelines, right? So that's helped it. But I agree with you. Now, so many large Fortune 2000 companies and beyond, in medium scale corporations, are starting to lock down their um, their their access and their content, especially with this momentum, of course, of remote workforce, which is going to be here for a long time. In fact, it's going to be balanced now as we move forward. So you're still going to have remote, and you're going to have some in days in the corporate office. Those are the latest stats from the Valley and from a lot of the large research firms in the world.
So lots of people adopting. It's all very well to say that, but how does IT dive into this new zero trust cybersecurity, framework? You got any? I mean, you're there. You've got a products is there. What's the most effective route?
I guess the most effective strategy is to roll it out in stages, and it's really some great solutions that IT and the cybersecurity, as well as the users, gain the knowledge and the experience. And if it's properly done and the platforms are really designed properly, there's three key pillars that you have to be identified as zero trust. Data access is one, where we play in. There's zero trust network access, which is one, and there's zero trust application access. So these are kind of the three, call it the three pillars, if you really want an organization locked down and done properly on everything from where does that document go and who opened it, to who accessed and who's got rights to what application to use in the corporation and what's the activity. Many organizations start with specific applications and data assets or classes of users, and they want to protect their most valuable assets. I mean, their data, of course, and their users. For example, more people working remotely, so users with the most widespread access privileges may be vulnerable to additional risks from unsecured home networks and devices that may be used for both business and personal applications. Another critical factor in implementing zero trust is the ability to leverage existing solutions to make the transition more seamless and, of course, less costly. And Qnext, for example, in particular, our FileFlex has been a leader in sort of leveraging the zero trust capabilities across its solution. And the new product is set to simplify zero trust access across corporate hybrid infrastructures. FileFlex Enterprise does this by providing an end-to-end zero trust data security model for seamless access, sharing, and collaboration of your data.
So FileFlex is one of those real world kind of zero trust solutions that make this happen. You know, why is that? I mean, why FileFlex Enterprise? Can you give us just that kind of validation for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think A, we've designed this from ground up. B, we've got some significant source code partnership with Intel and new generation of processors. We've also have some very large partners that we're about to announce that are global and very significant. And because we've designed this product from ground up and designed it specifically for the protection of a corporate's data and to make and take the friction away and make it seamless for the remote worker to be able to click and point and know that that transaction is protected on a point-to-point encrypted data, encrypted pipe, and it never rests anywhere versus the typical file and data access and sharing that syncs and duplicates in the cloud and brings across significant other risks. So granting microsegmentation and that the fact that every transaction, every user is authorized, authenticated every time. And accessing and sharing policies can be customized with us. You can decide that an entire group can access and view, but they can't share. I mean, the permutations and possibilities are pretty well endless, where you can really manage, track, and monitor exactly the activity and ultimately set alarms. Hey, if there's a bandwidth alarm and somebody's overusing bandwidth, I'd like to know. And so on and so on. A classic example has been, the Tesla break-in that happened about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Internal employee, 26,000 files taken within about 8 days to their Dropbox account. Big lawsuit now because a lot of IP, a lot of important data that went there. If FileFlex was as part of that platform solution at Tesla, we would have stopped that cold in the first hour with an alarm.
Really,
and so that's it's about protecting your data.
okay, that's really interesting.
That's how we live, eat, and breathe.
So thinking of all my colleagues in IT, is there? I mean, and it looks like they're going to be adopting zero trust. Can you really give us a clear sense of whether the path to zero trust is going to be difficult for them?
Yeah, it's interesting because fortunately, the path to zero trust is going to be much easier than ever. I mean, especially like I'll just put an example of our FileFlex Enterprise Zero Trust Access solution. Organizations can move at their own pace towards building an end-to-end zero trust architecture and one step at a time. We, you can have 500 employees in our solution up and running in a matter of an afternoon, and you're all in zero trust, and it's all automated, integrates into the popular IT tools that IT has and manages their networks with, and you start protecting your data, your most valuable asset.
That's a lot of people in an afternoon, so that's kind of interesting. Anthony, I'd like to thank you for coming on to the Founders Podcast. I think this has been something that's been talked about a lot amongst a group of us. So thanks for this. Really useful information.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. Thanks for having me, and hopefully there's some there's some decent data. And if not, feel free to go to FileFlex.com. You get a whole bunch of general information also on Zero Trust besides our product.
Thank you. Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks, Phil.